my name is John Freer, and this is my reflection video for my work at Boise State University as I wrap up my Master's in Educational Technology. In this video, I'll be looking at a few of the artifacts that I've created over my few years at Boise State that come from the courses that I've taken there. I'll try to explain them and explain the impact it's had on my teaching and where I see myself going from here. As a science teacher of nearly 20 years, I think it is also important to reflect a little bit on where I actually came from before I started the program. So before I begin looking at artifacts, I thought maybe I could do that. So let's take a look at where I've been in the past. So this is where I've spent a great deal of time in my career. At the front of the board, although the color of the board has changed over the years from black to white to smartboard, and what I've done for most of my career is taken a pretty didactic approach where I bring the information in, I share it with the students, they work to remember it, and then I test them to see how well they did remember it. In that time, I always felt a little uneasy with what I was doing, but it was what I knew. It's how I grew up, it's how I was taught, both in high school and college. I did have an experience, however, a little bit later that helped me understand that there were different ways to approach both teaching and learning. So that's where I've been as a teacher. And then just about 5 years ago, I was invited to take part in a professional development program called Powerful Learning Practice, or PLP. And in this program, they talked about 21st century skills and infusing technology into the curriculum. And really their goal is to help teachers understand the change in learning that can actually happen and the dynamic between teacher and student. I have to say that I became very enamored with the tools and started to infuse technology here and there in my curriculum, not necessarily thinking out exactly what I was doing or why I was doing it or what impact it would have. It became a little scattered and not necessarily the best program or best curriculum I ever saw, but I was still excited about the potential for technology and learning and decided that it was time to get a little bit more understanding of the role of educational technology. And that's where Boise State comes in. So I enrolled in the master's program, and since then I have learned a great deal and really have evolved as a teacher. I'm excited from this point going forward. And I think looking at a few of the artifacts will show the evolution of me as an educator and an academic technology leader at my school. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go through a few of the artifacts that I've created as a part of this program in EdTech. I'm going to begin with this artifact, which is a paper I wrote for EdTech 504 entitled A Case for the Development of an Inquiry-Based Technology-Supported Science Curriculum. This paper truly impacted my approach to teaching. As I said, I spent most of my career using a didactic approach to teaching science. Exploration of the constructivist style of learning led me to make connections to how science is actually done. It was then that I realized that I needed to engage my students more in the process of science and not simply the memorization of science facts. Learning through doing the science for themselves became a hallmark of my classes. This was further honed into guided inquiry activities that have allowed my students to explore scientific concepts without getting too far down the wrong path. Some technology has been included as a result of this learning in this paper. I can't say that at this point that anything revolutionary really happened in terms of technology use, but it has shaped a great deal of what I do as a teacher. While the paper written for EdTech 504 did not necessarily cause me to infuse a lot of technology into my own teaching and my own practice, these two assignments, the Genetics Web Quest and the Virtual Biome Tour created for EdTech 502, gave me a great basis for creating web-based activities for my classes. The lessons in web design and in the structured approach for designing lessons, from developing specific objectives, as you can see here, to outlining the process, the task, as they do here in the Web Quest, and even going as far as developing process of evaluation gave me an excellent sense of how an online lesson could and should be structured to be most effective. These two assignments and these two lessons are a far cry from my early videos that simply brought the didactic approach of teaching to the students' homes rather than having it done in the classroom. Both of these assignments have provided me with a method of creating rich, guided experiences for my students to learn about the world around them, whether it be a little bit more distance, as is the case in the biome field trip, or to learn some of the key concepts of science, such as Mendelian genetics, something that's happening right inside of them. In my multimedia course, I learned many new principles that have helped me better approach the creation of videos and other multimedia for my classes. The two projects, the digital storytelling and the screencasting projects that I did, they in particular really inform what will be a large part of my teaching in the coming year. Bringing the ideas of the constructivist approach to learning science that I gained from EdTech 504 and the learning theories, and applying them to multimedia together. What I intend to do is to create a series of videos that don't simply inform my students, as I had been doing prior to my work at Boise State. Instead, I want to provide them with opportunities to make connections for themselves. Lessons like this, created for EdTech 513, this is a drawing simple Lewis structures for my chemistry class that I created. And it takes students through a specific process of learning. I'm going to let it play here just for a second.
In this video, we'll be looking at a common example of drawing a Lewis structure. This is something you do frequently in chemistry class. It is a two-dimensional representation of a...
What this video does is it actually teaches students how to do it, but it creates a more of an interactive approach to it, in which students later in the video are able to work backwards through the different steps. If they need to, they can move on and practice their own. And so it creates a more interactive environment. Now, the videos I hope to make, or will be making in the coming future, are going to use a guided inquiry approach to actually create situations in which the students can get into the shoes of Charles Darwin or Gregor Mendel or Louis Pasteur or other great scientists, all structured in a way that will use guided inquiry to create a situation where the students investigate the world for themselves, and also use sound educational design, as I've learned through my different courses actually here at Boise State. Now, the Lost Treasure digital storytelling has also provided me with an opportunity to allow students to create products that they will be able to have some creativity on. Having long done the question and answers for biology class homework and assignments, I look to actually have students create products such as a digital story to connect a little bit better with the material. These two skills and all of the principles for designing quality multimedia that I learned in EdTech 513 will really shape a great deal of what I do with both my students' assignments and with how I create my courses moving forward. The next project I want to look at is a project I did for EdTech 542, project-based learning, and it is the creation of a website that you can see here that it guides the production and use of a school garden for learning. In some ways, I see that the material I learned from this class to be some of the most influential that I've learned in all of the MET program. It is what I hope my future will actually look like as a teacher as I continue to evolve. What the website does is it creates a program that a teacher can follow for development of a school garden for learning. The project-based learning approach brings a lot of different curricula together, a lot of different, usually separate parts of a school together. And it provides assessments, it provides all the resources needed for, in this case, creating a school garden. this class and this project has inspired me towards working towards this type of hands-on project material with some of my colleagues. I hope in the future to actually enlist some people from history and English and math to create projects like this that involve project-based learning. Students would utilize technology to enhance their understanding of the material and then go out and actually get their hands dirty, so to speak, and have hands-on projects where they work together and they build some real-world product from that knowledge. And then, of course, using the technology again to share that information with the rest of the world. I'm not quite there yet, but this project, along with many of the other classes I've had at Boise State, have given me the knowledge towards working towards this goal. The final project I want to highlight in this video is my final project for instructional design at Tech 503. In this project, I created basically a professional development experience in which teachers learn the benefits and skills for incorporating blogging into their classroom. While I am proud of the project itself, I am more inspired by what it represents, which is the transition from me being a teacher striving to incorporate technology into his own practice to a leader at my school in the field of educational technology. In the coming year, I'm being called on to lead more professional development workshops at my school, and this project has given me the foundation I need to go into these experiences prepared and confident. By using, most likely, the ADDIE model of instructional design, I know I'm going to be able to create effective and organized lessons around the various forms of technology that teachers may wish to integrate into their teaching. I look forward to this new challenge and know that my work at Boise State has really geared me towards being skilled enough to do these types of workshops. Well, that brings us to the end of the video, and in many ways the end of my master's program at Boise State University. It's been an exciting time for me. I've really enjoyed the learning and getting to know the professors and the students alike, and I hope to keep many of those connections as I move forward in my career. It certainly is not the end of my learning. There's still a great deal to learn, and as we all know with technology, that really isn't going to change in any time soon. But I do appreciate all the skills that I've learned and look forward to the challenges ahead of me as both a teacher and an academic technologist and a learner in general. Thank you for watching.